Welcome to Healthy Knees for You, where we share the secrets, the steps, and the savvy for you to reduce or eliminate your knee pain so you can live your life to the fullest. This is episode number 4, where we talk about the 4 pillars to strengthen your knee. In our last episode, we focused on the biggest mistake you can make by only focusing on strengthening your quadriceps and your hamstring muscles. In today's video, I want to talk about the 4 pillars of strength training that you really need to include in your strength training plan in order to stabilize that whole kinetic chain. Okay, number 1, we want to work on some movement foundations. Number 2, we'll work on balance because you know balance is going to have a key in how your knee plays in and reacts. Number 3, we'll focus on muscle development. Getting stronger, having stronger muscles is really important. And number 4, we'll look at stretching and release of tension. So you know from our last video that people commonly focus only on a portion of one of the 4 pillars, and that's on strengthening the quads and the hamstrings. But that is not enough. And if you want to get the results you're hoping for by really reducing your knee pain and being able to live life to the fullest, then listen in because you'll learn about those 4 pillars. When you stabilize the whole kinetic chain, which is what we focus on in the strength training, then you are going to feel stable, you are going to feel strong, you're not going to worry about balance or climbing stairs or sitting in a chair and getting up from a chair, and your confidence in your knees and body will skyrocket. So if you want those secrets to training that whole chain, keep on listening. Now, in our Healthy Knees Formula program, we've already put together a program for you with a progression that focuses on each one of these pillars so that you know exactly what to do at the right time. So we are starting with the what? Movement foundations. So in movement foundations, there are 5 elements that I like to include: your feet, your calves, your quads, your glutes, and your core, along with some breathing that I think is very important in that. Now, when I talk about movement foundations, we look at waking up some muscles that may have gotten a little bit lazy along the way. So one of my favorites is a foot exercise called short foot, and I'll show you how to do that right now. I've taken off one shoe, because you'll want to do this barefoot, and you can try it along with me right now. So you'll put your weight onto your foot, and you can have your other one there for balance. And what I want to do is try to lift up my arch. And it's a small movement, so I'll grip my toes onto the floor, and now I'm going to lift up on that arch and release. So you can see small movement here, lift up on the arch and release. Lift up on the arch and then release. And that short foot exercise, because your foot gets a little bit shorter as you're doing it, right? You lift up on the arch and your toes squinch in a little bit. That is waking up some of those feet that get a little bit lazy when you wear shoes. Your feet are really important for sensory perception. Your proprioceptive nerves are in your feet, many of them, to help tell your body is where it is in space. And if those nerves get shunted by wearing shoes all of the time, your shoe is doing more of the work for you than your foot. So movement foundations is just getting back to some of those basic movements that we want to do in order to make sure our whole kinetic chain is going to be listening as we are trying to train. Okay, next, so I also mentioned there's a movement you can do for your calves, for your quads, for your glutes, and for your core. And I'll focus in on those on another video session. All right, let me get my shoe back on. Next is balance. In balance, there are simple things that you can do every day. And there are 3 parts to balance that we want to focus on. First is changing your base. So a wide stance is going to give you more stability. By a more narrow stance, it makes it more challenging. And if you want to make it even more challenging than that, go heel to toe. And when you've gone heel to toe, you just want to stay here in balance, you can close your eyes and try to hold that for a count of 30. Now, I recommend you do this next to a wall so you can catch yourself if you fall. Make sure your weight is evenly distributed between your feet. All right, so that's the first example of how to do a balance exercise where we're changing our base. Now, of course, you can go to single leg work after that. So when you are single leg, first of all, just start focusing on balance with that one leg. And then you can change your center of gravity by bringing your other leg and moving it around. One of my very favorite exercises for balance is to brush your teeth while standing on one leg. So while you're brushing on your uppers, one leg, and while you brush on your lowers, the other leg. So that gives you a chance to do that balance work every single day. I hope you're brushing your teeth that much. Okay. When you advance in balance training, then you'll start working on changing the center of gravity for your body. So you can go to a single leg, tap a foot out behind, and start to change your body position to really fine-tune that balance. There are lots and lots of ways to practice balance. We show you so many of them inside of the Healthy Knees Formula program. All right, so that was number 2. Number 3 is focused on the muscle development. Of course, having strong muscles is the most important part of strength training, and you will want to focus on exercises that are knee dominant, so primarily working on your quadriceps and your hamstrings, and hip dominant, primarily working on your glutes and hip flexors. And then you'll also want to make sure you've got some calf exercises. So always a very good basic calf exercise is to come up to your toes and come back down. Raise and lower, raise and lower, raise and lower. I'll do another calf exercise video where I show you how to use a tennis ball to make sure that your ankles are not flaring out. And then finally, you'll want to work on core to stabilize your hips and your spine. So very important. The 4th pillar is what I call stretch and release. There are 3 parts to this. The first part is dynamic stretching, and that's what you want to do when you are warming up for your exercises because you are moving through the stretches. The second part is static stretching. That's what you do when you're done with exercising and you'll hold a stretch pose. And then the third thing that you can add in is some trigger point release or foam rolling. All right, I'll show you a little bit of the dynamic stretching here, one of my favorites to warm up your knee joint. Just find a chair, or I've got a weight bench here, and you'll move into that bend and come away. You shouldn't ever feel pain when you do this, but maybe pressure as you move into that stretch and come away. And you'll want to do this about 10 times. And then on the last time, you can hold it for 20 or 30 seconds. Just getting that knee ready for some movement. I'll dive into the other parts of stretching, static stretches and the trigger point release and foam rolling in videos coming up. Okay, so I think you got the idea that there's so much more to do to truly strengthen your knee by stabilizing and strengthening your whole lower kinetic chain. I know you want to reduce your knee pain and you want to get stronger and feel more stable, but you can't just do one thing in order to make that happen. You need to use the 4 pillars for strength training: movement foundations, balance training, muscle development, and stretch and release. Now, if you want help in learning how to do this in a follow-along guide, we've already done that for you in our Healthy Knees Formula program. So click the link somewhere on this page for more information about that, or go to healthykneescoach.com. Okay, that wraps it up for today. I invite you to join in on our conversation each week. Please subscribe somewhere below so that you don't miss an episode. And I'm so looking forward to helping your knees feel healthier and happier. Okay, until our time next week, I'll see you then.